Have you ever felt something deep shift inside you? Suddenly, without any explanation? One moment you were living life like normal, and then out of nowhere, everything changed. A surge of unfamiliar energy, a wave of unexplainable emotion, a deep, undeniable knowing that something bigger, something sacred was happening inside of you. It's like your soul got tapped on the shoulder by something divine. And maybe for a moment you questioned your sanity. Maybe you wondered if you were overreacting or just being too sensitive. But let me tell you right now, you weren't imagining it. You weren't broken. You weren't crazy. What you felt was real. More than real, it was a symptom, a confirmation, a divine activation sent from the realm of spirit. Because only the most powerful chosen ones, only the rarest, most spiritually encoded souls on this planet experience this level of soul awakening. This isn't common. This isn't the type of spiritual awakening you read about in self-help books. It's not about trendy affirmations, full moons, or meditation playlists. No, what hit you was something ancient, something raw, something sacred. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't come with a manual. And when it arrives, it rearranges everything, your energy, your perception, your connection to reality. Suddenly, nothing feels the same, and everything you thought you understood begins to dissolve. You begin to question everything, not because you're lost, but because your soul is finally remembering the truth. This isn't confusion. This is remembrance. This is the shaking that happens when heaven touches earth inside your body. And if you're watching this right now, it's not an accident. It means this message was sent to find you. Out of the billions of souls walking this earth, this moment, this divine word, is tailor-made for your spiritual DNA. Because what you're about to hear might explain everything you've been feeling but couldn't articulate. It might finally give words to the mystery you've been living through in silence. So before we go deeper, I'm asking you, spirit to spirit, soul to soul, if this already resonates with something inside you, if it's stirring something in your chest, then pause right now and give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I promise you, messages like this do not come by accident. And drop the number 99 in the comments. That number isn't random. It's a divine code. It represents the completion of old cycles, the end of wandering, and the return of your divine power. If your spirit feels it, claim it, because what we're about to unlock together may be the beginning of the rest of your life. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The symptom no one talks about. You feel electric for no reason. Out of nowhere, something stirs in your body, like your nervous system just lit up. A subtle vibration under your skin, a chill rushing down your spine. Your heart begins to race, not because of fear, not because of adrenaline, but because your soul just brushed against a dimension the physical world can't explain. You try to ground yourself. You try to shake it off, but it lingers, like a presence walked past you that no one else saw. And deep down, you know something just shifted. This is not medical. This is not your imagination. This is not a random sensation. This is spiritual resonance. Your soul is tuning itself to a higher frequency, and your body is trying to catch up. What you're experiencing is real, and it's ancient. It's coded into the very fabric of who you are as a chosen one. This isn't the kind of thing they teach in school. You won't find this in a diagnosis. Why? Because it's not of this world. It's the sound of heaven whispering your name. Think of Elijah. In 1 Kings 19, the prophet stood on the mountain waiting for God. There was a mighty wind, an earthquake, a fire, but God wasn't in any of them. And then came the still, small voice, that gentle whisper that cut deeper than any storm. That's what this is. You're not reacting to the chaos around you. You're responding to the whisper within you. Your spirit has heard something the world hasn't caught up to yet. You're beginning to remember what you were sent here to do. And here's what you need to know. You are not broken. You are not malfunctioning. You are not too sensitive. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. You're being recalibrated. The static of the world is starting to fade, and now you're becoming tuned to heaven's signal, clearer, sharper, stronger than ever before. It's like God is adjusting your spiritual radio dial, and suddenly, the static clears. You can hear what others can't. You can feel what others numb. You can sense what hasn't yet arrived. This is the symptom no one talks about. It's sacred, and it's lonely, because while others sleepwalk through life, your soul is waking up. But here's the part that most people miss. This frequency will begin to change what you see, what you feel, and what you understand. It doesn't just awaken you, it transforms you. It bends your perception. It reshapes your desires. It makes the old world feel like a lie. And what's coming next is going to stretch your faith, shake your identity, and ignite your calling. So take a deep breath. Don't fight the sensation. Don't fear the symptoms, because the same power that raised Jesus from the dead is now stirring in you. And this is only the beginning. Chapter 2. Emotion as a spiritual weapon. You cry without cause. Tears rise like tides you never summoned. Sometimes they fall silently while you're washing dishes or driving home. Sometimes they come in a wave so heavy it takes your breath away. But you can't explain why. You're not sad. You're not thinking about anything in particular. You're just feeling, and the feeling is massive, ancient, overwhelming. Then, just as quickly, a sudden wave of joy crashes in. A holy stillness that lifts your chest. A smile you didn't plan. Peace that descends out of nowhere. And then grief. The kind that doesn't even belong to you. A sorrow that leaks from the spirit world into your soul without warning. What you're feeling isn't random. It's not mood swings. It's not chemical imbalance. You are not emotional. You are spiritually encoded to carry energy. You are an empath in the highest spiritual sense. You feel what others bury. You absorb what the collective suppresses. You are a divine frequency translator, your nervous system wired like a harp in the hands of the Most High. And when heaven plays a note, your entire being vibrates in response. Chosen ones are not just people, they're portals. We were designed to carry the pain of generations and alchemize it into healing. To take the sorrow of the world, filter it through divine love, and return it as light. That's why your heart aches for things you've never seen. That's why your body reacts to new stories, memories, places, and people you've never even met. You're picking up on wounds that were never processed, griefs that were never named, burdens that were never acknowledged. Because this is what chosen ones do. We stand in the spiritual gap. The world pretends. It hides behind filters and numbs with noise. But the chosen feel it all. Not to be overwhelmed, but to intercede. Not to be crushed, but to transform. Our tears are intercession. Our grief is identification. Our sensitivity is the very proof that God has trusted us with the emotional language of the spirit realm. Isaiah 53 verse 4 says, "Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows." Christ was the ultimate chosen one, anointed to carry what the world could not handle. And if we are to follow him, we too must carry what others run from. When you cry for no reason, you're not breaking down, you're breaking through. You're partnering with heaven. You're releasing trauma that was never yours. You're unlocking healing for your bloodline, your community, your nation. You weep so that others can heal without even knowing it. But here's the truth most won't tell you. This sensitivity comes with a price. And it's a price most people will never understand, let alone survive. Because to carry this level of spiritual weight requires isolation, misunderstanding, deep fatigue. It will make you question if you're cursed when really you're just called. You'll feel like you're drowning in emotions while others walk around numb. You'll feel overwhelmed in crowds. You'll need more rest than most. Your soul will ache at injustice while others scroll past it. And if you're not careful, you'll start to see your empathy as weakness, when in fact, it's the fingerprint of God on your life. But don't suppress it. Don't run from it. Don't call it too much. Because your ability to feel deeply is not a flaw. It's your spiritual weapon. And very soon, that weapon will be required for a battle your spirit has already been trained to fight. But before that battle begins, something even deeper must be revealed. Chapter 3. The sacred isolation. There's a moment, sometimes gradual, sometimes all at once, when the life you once knew begins to fade. Friends feel distant, even when they're near. Conversations that used to bring laughter now feel empty. The places that once felt like home begin to feel foreign. You find yourself sitting in a room full of people, smiling on the outside, but quietly aching on the inside. Not because anything is wrong, but because something sacred is shifting inside of you. It feels like disconnection, like you're slowly being unplugged from everything familiar. But hear this in your spirit. It's not depression. It's divine separation. God is pulling you out of what was never designed to hold your next season. You're not being punished. You're being preserved. You're not being abandoned. You're being anointed. This is the painful blessing that no one prepares you for. The moment when heaven calls you into the wilderness so it can whisper secrets into your soul. The old world starts to lose its flavor. The friends who used to understand you can no longer reach you. You outgrow their rhythms. Their priorities start to feel shallow. Their jokes don't hit the same. You're not better than them, but you are being set apart. Jesus spoke it plainly in John 15 verse 19. If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. This scripture isn't about persecution from strangers. It's about the ache you feel when you realize you no longer fit into the life you used to love. That misfit feeling is not dysfunction. It's divine identity waking up inside of you. God is severing your connection to anything that would keep you average. He is removing your appetite for the illusions that once satisfied. You begin to see things differently, clearer. The veil lifts. You see the performance in people's words, the masks behind their smiles, the spiritual sleep behind their busyness. The same show you once played a part in now looks like a hollow act. And this part hurts, because you want to go back. You want to feel close to them again. You want to laugh like you used to, connect like you used to, care like you used to, but you can't. You've changed. And you didn't choose this, it chose you. This is the sacred cost of being a chosen one. To walk with God is to walk through isolation. But don't misinterpret the silence around you. God isn't punishing you, He's protecting you. He's preserving your purity. He's pruning your circle. He's making space for revelation that would never have reached you if you stayed where you were. Because in order to hear the next instruction, you must leave the noise of the crowd. And yes, it's lonely, but it's holy loneliness. You're not alone. You're simply out ahead. You're a pioneer in the spirit. And pioneers walk alone before others can follow. So if you feel disconnected, let it confirm something sacred. You have been chosen out of the world to see what others are still blind to. And once you see the truth, once your spiritual eyes are opened, once you behold the full weight of the illusion we've been living under, everything begins to shatter. What comes next will redefine your reality. Chapter 4. When the matrix breaks, one day it just hits you, maybe in the middle of a conversation, or while scrolling through your phone, or watching a show you used to love. Suddenly, it all feels fake, manufactured, hollow. You're listening, but nothing's being said. You're surrounded by people, but it's like no one's really there. The smiles feel forced. The laughter sounds scripted. The routines feel robotic. And you find yourself wondering, when did life become a performance? You start to feel like a ghost in your own existence. You're there, but you're not in it. It's like you're watching the world through a sheet of glass, present but detached, visible but unseen. And for a moment you panic. What's wrong with me? Am I losing myself? But no, you're not losing yourself. You're finally stepping outside the matrix. Because this matrix, this illusion we've called life, was never built for your soul. It was built to distract it, to numb it, to keep you blind and bound. But now, something inside you is breaking through. The veil is lifting, the programming is glitching, and you're beginning to perceive reality for what it really is. And once the veil lifts, you can't unsee what's been exposed. Romans 12 verse 2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God." When the matrix breaks, your mind begins to renew itself. The transformation doesn't begin in your circumstances. It begins in your consciousness. It begins when your spirit says, "I refuse to play this game any longer." You begin to realize how much of your life was inherited and not inspired. How many of your dreams were handed to you by culture, not heaven. How much of your identity was built to survive in a world that was never made for your spirit? And that's why the jobs feel meaningless. The conversations feel empty. The entertainment feels forced. Because your soul has outgrown the script. The truth is, the world sells stories. But chosen ones are here to live truth. And truth is disruptive. Truth breaks chains. Truth exposes systems. Truth awakens sleepers. And when you start living in truth, the matrix begins to malfunction around you. People start to say you've changed, and they're right. Because you have. You've disconnected from the illusion, and now you're operating in discernment. You're no longer hypnotized by the noise. You've unplugged from the surface-level systems of validation and survival, and your spirit has entered a deeper realm. But here's what most people never tell you. When the veil lifts, you don't just see the truth. You begin to receive signs. Reality itself starts to respond to your awakening. Patterns form. Numbers appear. Dreams intensify. The entire atmosphere around you begins to speak. And what it's saying will change everything. Chapter 5. The signs are everywhere. At first, it feels subtle. You glance at the clock 11:11. You check your phone 2:22. You step outside and a license plate flashes 777. You tell yourself it's just coincidence. But then it happens again, and again, and again. Numbers begin to follow you. Dreams feel more vivid, more prophetic, like you're being pulled into another realm while you sleep. You start to hear songs at the perfect moment, lyrics that speak directly to the question you just asked in your heart. A stranger passes you and says something that cuts straight to your soul. How did they know? You think of someone, and they call. You whisper a prayer in the dark, and the answer shows up in a way you never expected. This isn't random. This isn't imagination. This is divine alignment. Reality is no longer functioning on autopilot. It's responding to your spiritual awakening. The veil is thin now, and heaven is speaking. And the deeper your soul awakens, the louder the signs become. You begin to notice them everywhere. Repeating numbers, feathers in strange places, names that echo, scriptures that find you instead of the other way around. The universe itself begins to confirm what your soul already knows. You're not alone in this. Jeremiah 33 verse 3 says, "Call unto me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things, which you do not know." This is the promise being fulfilled in real time. Every time you pray, the kingdom listens. Every time your spirit cries out, God responds, not always in the way you expect, but in the way your soul can receive. Because chosen ones don't live by chance, we live by code. Not the kind you read, but the kind you feel. The kind that's whispered from the eternal into the now. These signs aren't decorations, they're instructions. They are divine winks, heavenly reminders, supernatural timestamps confirming that you are right where you're supposed to be. And the more you notice them, the more they come. You begin to understand that life isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. You and heaven are in communication now. You've entered spiritual intelligence, prophetic perception, divine awareness. And with every sign, every whisper, every confirmation, your soul begins to remember, not just where you are, but why you came. Because these signs are not just clues, they are calls to destiny. They are pulling you back into alignment with your ancient mission. The one you agreed to before your first breath. The one buried under years of distraction, fear, and noise. The one that is now rising back to the surface because you're ready. And what your soul begins to remember next will set your entire reality on fire. Chapter 6. The ancient fire within you. Since childhood, you've known. Maybe you couldn't explain it. Maybe you didn't have the words. But something in you always whispered, I'm not like everyone else. While other kids were playing, something deeper was stirring inside of you. You saw things they didn't see, felt things they couldn't feel. You questioned what others blindly accepted. And no matter how hard you tried to fit in, you couldn't. Because you were never meant to. You weren't here to blend in. You weren't created to follow trends or chase applause. While the world taught others to seek fame, wealth, and validation, you felt drawn to something invisible. Something holy. Something that pulled at your spirit like gravity. an unshakable knowing that your life had purpose, a mission, a sacred assignment written into your bones. You didn't come here to be known by the world. You came here to shift atmospheres, to walk into dark places and carry the light, to break generational curses, to dismantle spiritual chains, to confront systems with your very presence. Because your existence is not random, it's revolutionary. God looked at the timeline of human history and said, "Now, this is when I will send them." And he formed you in fire. That's why you've been misunderstood your entire life. That's why you couldn't settle. That's why fitting in always felt like suffocating. You were made for more, not more attention, not more comfort, but more truth, more impact, more purpose. Jeremiah 1 verse 5 declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations." This wasn't just spoken to Jeremiah. This was spoken to you. God didn't discover you, he remembered you. You were chosen before you ever took your first breath. Set apart, anointed, appointed, carried through bloodlines and births just to arrive in this moment of history. And that fire you feel in your chest, the one that keeps burning no matter how tired you get, no matter how disappointed you've been, that's the ancient flame, the holy ember of your original calling. You were never meant to be comfortable. You were meant to be consumed. Your life is not about success. It's about submission to the fire. Because that fire is what purifies you, strengthens you, refines you. But here's the truth many won't say. Before you can walk in the fullness of your mission, you must survive the collapse of everything false. The false identity, the false attachments, the false beliefs, the false comforts. It all has to fall. Because what's coming through you can't be built on what's counterfeit. And that collapse, that sacred destruction, is where everything changes. Chapter 7. The collapse of false identity. There comes a point when the roles you've played, those masks you wore just to survive, begin to crack. The smile you used to force fades. The conversations you used to entertain now exhaust you. The job, the image, the performance, it all starts to feel unbearably fake. And no matter how hard you try to go back, to act like you used to, something inside you just won't let you. That something is your spirit, and it's tired of pretending. When you're truly awakening as a chosen one, your soul goes through a violent yet holy shedding. The version of you that was shaped by survival, by rejection, by needing to be liked, it starts to dissolve. You feel it in the silence, in the discomfort, in the inability to do small talk anymore. Your spirit literally aches when you try to blend in. It groans when you try to shrink yourself to fit inside spaces you've outgrown. This isn't you being antisocial. This isn't burnout. This is the collapse of false identity. It's not a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. And it always feels like death before it feels like rebirth. Because the truth is, God is not just tweaking your behavior, he's reconstructing your very being. From the inside out, from the soul outward, he's dismantling the version of you that life created so he can resurrect the version of you that he designed. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come." And that new doesn't come easy. It doesn't arrive with comfort. It arrives with fire, with silence, with tears, with the disorientation of no longer knowing who you are without your old titles, habits, or people. But this is where the holy reconstruction begins. You're not going backwards. You're not falling apart. You're being reformatted. The software of your soul is being updated to carry a frequency that's too high for your old system. So don't panic when it all starts to feel unfamiliar. That's how you know it's real. God will let what's fake fall away so that only the authentic you remains. The one that was hidden beneath layers of people-pleasing, fear, and conformity. And yes, it's terrifying. Yes, it feels like losing everything. But what you're actually losing is the lie. Because after the collapse, after the breakdown, the detachment, the silence, the power begins to rise. Not power that the world gives. Not ego or control. But the quiet, unshakable authority of someone who knows who they are in the spirit. And what rises in you next is what the enemy feared most all along. Chapter 8. Your divine power is activating. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are not broken. You're being called. All your life you were told to tone it down, to quiet your feelings, to second-guess your inner voice. The world trained you to fear your sensitivity, to doubt your intuition, to dismiss your dreams. They labeled your empathy as weakness, your insight as paranoia, your spiritual encounters as imagination. But the world was wrong, because what they called too much was actually the fingerprint of God on your soul. What they dismissed was your divine wiring. What they couldn't handle was your original design. And now that you've survived the collapse of everything false, now that your soul has been stripped of the noise, you can finally hear it. That still, small voice, that sacred whisper from the throne room of heaven. It's time. The Spirit is waking up the gifts you buried just to fit in, the dreams you silenced to avoid judgment, the discernment you pushed aside to keep peace. But now those gifts are rising, sharpening, awakening, and no one can stop it. Not even you. You begin to know things you didn't study. You start feeling things before they happen. You speak words and realize later they were prophetic. You walk into a room and the atmosphere shifts, because your very presence carries revelation. This isn't ego. This is evidence that the Holy Spirit is activating something ancient in you. Joel 2 verse 28 declares, "And it shall come to pass afterward, that I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions." That prophecy is not coming, it's happening. Right now. In you. Through you. You are walking proof that God's Spirit is moving in this generation. You are not behind. You are not late. In fact, you were never too much. You were always ahead. You felt the shift before it came. You heard the call before others recognized the sound. That's why they didn't understand you. That's why they resisted you. You weren't echoing the world, you were echoing heaven. And now the moment is here. The gifts have been activated. The veil has lifted. And everything your spirit has carried in secret is about to come into full expression. Now it's time to step into the reason why you were awakened first. Because the awakening wasn't just for you, it was to prepare you to lead. You didn't stumble into this message. You were drawn to it. You didn't click by accident. Your spirit was summoned not by an algorithm, but by divine alignment. Because your awakening was never random. It was prophetic. Every tear you cried, every moment you felt different, every season of isolation, sensitivity, and spiritual fire, none of it was meaningless. It was heaven's signal that your assignment had begun. You didn't just wake up spiritually, you were chosen to awaken first. Because your awakening is not just part of your journey. It is the journey for others. You're not just living through a transformation. You are the evidence of prophecy fulfilled. The confirmation that what God spoke over this generation is coming to pass through you. Romans 8 verse 19 says, "For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God." That means all of creation. Every star, every mountain, every atom has been holding its breath, waiting for you to step into your true identity. Your awakening didn't begin when you started reading spiritual books or watching prophetic videos. It began before the foundations of the world, when God looked into time and saw you saying yes to the mission. You've always felt the fire, even when you didn't have language for it, even when life tried to numb it, even when you tried to silence it. Something in you never died. That ancient flame kept burning. It burned in your loneliness. It burned in your confusion. It burned through betrayal, heartbreak, and loss, because the calling on your life is fireproof. And now, it's no longer just a whisper. It's a commissioning. Your DNA has been activated. Your gifts are coming online. Your voice, your presence, your very existence is becoming a weapon in the hand of God. You didn't come here to fit in. You came to break chains. You came to shift atmospheres. You came to carry the light into dark places no one else was willing to go. You're not lost. You're not behind. You're not too late. You are exactly where God needs you, at the exact moment your light was meant to rise. And now, I speak this into your spirit. The same God who awakened you will establish you. The same power that pulled you out will send you forth. You were awakened on purpose for a purpose. And if you're still here, still listening, still feeling this deep in your chest, it's because you are the one we've been waiting for. You are the fulfillment of prayers your ancestors cried behind closed doors. You are the continuation of every prophet who dared to speak truth in a world that mocked them. You are the living, breathing sign that God still speaks, still calls, still anoints. Now, all of heaven waits for your yes. Now speak this with me, out loud, from your soul. I am not confused. I am being called. I am not broken. I am being rebuilt. I am not too late. I am right on time. I am not shrinking. I am rising. I am not alone. I am chosen. I am not powerless. I am awakened. If your soul resonated with this message, comment below. I am rising. Let your spirit be counted. Let heaven and earth witness your yes. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and share this with someone you know is awakening too. Because this is not just a video. This is a spiritual marker, a divine announcement, a call to rise. You are one of the chosen, and now it's time to walk boldly in the truth of who you really are. Don't look back. Don't shrink. Rise.